Alright, who said elbaf was gonna be Usopp's arc? Because if that's true, why is Brook getting a flashback? Spoilers for One Piece chapter 1183. Let's get into it. So One Piece chapter 1183 starts out with this beautiful color spread of the entire Straw Hat crew sitting on some island clouds, and there's a little pink elephant in the corner. And who would have guessed this chapter started out with Emu and Loki still going at it, brother? So at the top of the page, Emu tells Loki and Ragnar that it's been a while since he had someone to put this much damage on him. And naturally, Ragnar's laughing in his face right there, but Loki's like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? And Emu says, I was gonna turn you and Straw Hat into my soldiers, but now I don't want to do that anymore. Now I'm just gonna slime y'all. And at the top right corner, he says, just like Dozon. Now, I don't know who the hell this Dozon guy is, but I'm speculating it's some type of ancient elbaf warrior or something. Which leads us into the end of this scene of them clashing, naturally because we're reading Clash Piece. Next, we're going back to the Western Village with, Zaza, and he's taking the children. We see Zaza kidnapping all the kids, and the parents of those kids are saying, fuck that. I'm either gonna die, or I'm getting my kids back. One or the other. And it looks like Killingham wasn't able to get all of them, because he says he only has 7 kids, which then goes into Sanji, and Sanji is trying to come help these guys. After that, we're going to catch up with the rest of the Straw Hat crew, and Gonko, who's frozen in ice. Usopp goes, Brook, why the hell did you go out to fight this woman? I've never seen you locked in like that, brother. And Nami goes, yeah, I mean, did you know that bitch or what? Was she a past enemy? And Brook goes, nah, definitely not an enemy, but I definitely did not want to see her today, and I'm a little confused right now. Brook goes on to say that if it's the person I'm thinking of, she should be 77 years old. And Nami's like, so it's someone else then? I mean, obviously she might be a celestial dragon. And Brook goes on to say that, yeah, she used to be the princess of my homeland. I lost contact with her when she traveled to Sacred Marijois. And that's where we see Franking running in from the background. He says, hey, Brook, that chick is still frozen. I can't tell if she's alive or dead, but we're just gonna leave her there, yeah? Nami goes on to say that, yeah, this person does look like that person you had a past with. But at the end of the day, she came to attack elbaf. And Brook responds, yeah, but when we were tied up earlier, she was the one that undid the rope. And it literally shows them getting the rope undone by Gunko. And Brook's like, but why would you do that? And it shows a little mini flashback of Gunko releasing Brook. And it says, run, Brook. And then Gunko's like, how does he know who I am? And then Brook says, and after that, she turned back into her demonic form. He says her original personality, the personality that saved us, and then her demonic form. It seems like there's 3 different personalities in one body. So naturally, Nami's like, she's being controlled, right? She has to be. And Brook comes out and says, I've never seen this before. People have turned into demons today, and I'm really kind of disturbed a little bit. And now we're getting some Jinbei dialogue, and he says, I hate to rush you, Brook, but she's on ice right now, and we gotta figure out something fast before the ice thaws and she comes out and attacks us again. And so naturally, since they're on a time crunch, Brook's gotta go into an entire backstory explaining on who Gunko is. Brook starts the flashback by saying, a long time ago, I was a young lad and this girl was just a child in the land of Esperia. Esperia is a land full of music, workshops left and right creating instruments. And 70 years ago, in the West Blue, at 4 a.m., we see Brook singing at the top of his lungs. And everyone down here is like, shut up, Brook, it's 4 a.m., bro, I'm fucking hungover. And then we get introduced to the woman of the hour, Child Gunko. And she says, good morning, Brook. And naturally, Brook's still singing, and everyone's so mad at him, telling him to shut his ass up, bro. And so even one guy's like, yo, someone get me my gun. And now we pull up to the Esperia Palace barracks, and it looks like all of Brook's underlings are pretty much just glazing his ass. Naturally, he's still singing, but now he's singing Binks's brew to young Gunko, except her canon name now is Shuri, and she's the princess of the Esperia Kingdom. And Shuri's like, hey, I worked hard today, do you think I got any stronger? Just like my mom? And in typical Brook fashion, he's simping over the queen, saying, yes, her majesty is very powerful, she's the baddest person in the kingdom. The Queen Kendall, the light of my life. And Shuri's like, it's not good to simp over a married woman, right? And now comes in the king of the Esperia Kingdom, Reuven. He's like, I sentenced you to death for conspiracy. And Brook's like, no, wait, that's too harsh, please, I didn't mean it. And King Reuben's like, you were planning to kill me, I already knew you're trying to steal my girl, bro. And then Brook's like, no, I don't care that much, bro, I'm just gonna wait till you die, then I'm gonna take her. And Shuri's like, no, don't worry, Brook, when I get older, me and you can get married. And naturally, the King's pretty upset by this. He's like, no, Shuri, you're supposed to say goofy stuff to me, melt my heart. Brook's like, don't even worry about it. I don't want a runny-nosed little snot-nosed brat to be my wife. And this pisses the King off even more. He's like, how dare you turn down my little daughter? And then we get this messenger out of nowhere, and he says, King, there's a gang. They're on horseback. They're riding through the city from the port, and we're outnumbered, bro. They're trying to take everything. The King's like, what are they after? The messenger goes on to say that they're shouting for Queen Kendall, but she's watching the play right now in the theater. And the King goes, what? Is it the Mulan family? They've been after Kendall for years. Just give it up at this point. And Shuri says, Brook, please, you have to do something. You have to save my mama. And Brook's acting so nonchalant, bro. He's like, oh, the Moulin Rouge, you say? Oh, that's odd. I saw him this morning, earlier today. And here they are at the bottom here, and we're on Theater Street, and it shows the horseback gang. Next, we get teleported inside the opera house, and we see the Queen saying, ah, what a wonderful performance. As the gang is outside screaming at the top of their lungs saying, hey, Queen, come outside or we're airing this bitch out. And down at the bottom here, the King's like, dude, please, Brook, please, you have to save my wife, please. And Gunko is definitely like, oh, please, Brook, please. And Brook's like, dude, chill the fuck out. I already cut him already. As we see the gang all get sliced simultaneously. And someone's like, what the hell just happened? And another person's like, oh wait, it's one of those things where they're already cut kind of things, right? So we got a fourth wall break in One Piece. And everyone's cheering, they're like, oh my god, it was Brook's quick draw, bro. I knew we could count on Brook. And this is where Queen Kendall comes out of the theater, walking like a boss, and saying, yeah, I knew Brook would have got that. And it says, with Brook, the former captain of the battle convoy, and the current Queen Kendall, this was the era the kingdom was at peace. And we end it here on a to be continued. Great chapter. I don't think it was a banger, but it definitely was a great chapter. We got a lot of lore drops in this chapter. We finally know who Gunko is really. We got a Brook backstory. I mean, we finally see his eyes for the first time. We found out that Brook is actually nice with it. We found out that he's the leader of the battle convoy for the Espria Kingdom, and that he's the master of the quick draw technique. I'm kind of curious on who Queen Kendall is. I mean, obviously she's the queen, but like, look at her attire. It almost looks like what Shanks and Shamrock were wearing in Mauritius. So she might be Holy Knight related, possibly? And even Brook was too, so I don't know if this was the fashion of the Espria Kingdom, or maybe they took something from the Gods Knight, or the Gods Knight might have took inspiration from these guys. I mean, we don't know yet, but hopefully we'll get more of this flashback next week, because I don't think we're on a break week, but we're gonna have to see. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments.